Hatigumpha inscription. And the Hatigumpha inscription is a Jain inscription consisting of 17 lines written in Prakrit language incised in Brahmi script in a cavern called Hatigumpha in Udagiri Hills near Bhubaneswar in Orissa. It is dated between 2nd century BC and 1st century AD, and it was inscribed by a Jain king named KHARAVELA of Kalinga. The inscription presents, among other topics, a biological sketch of a king in the eastern region of ancient India. It also includes information on religious values, public infrastructure projects, military expedition and their purposes, society and culture. Paleographically, this inscription can be dated from the middle of the 1st century BC to the early 1st century AD, as it is always already been stated earlier. The inscription starts on the overhanging brow of Hatigumpha cavern, and the first 8 lines are visible at the front. The remaining 9 lines continue on the same rock, but given the sloping shape of the cavern, it appears on the cavern's roof. The line 5 has 15 syllables obliterated. Half of the line 6 record is missing, while line 7 record is mostly gone. These are 6th, 7th, and 6th, 7th year of KHARAVELA's reign. The lines 8 though through 15 shows much natural damage and large gaps, making them prone to misreadings. The line first is salutation to Arhats or the Jainas. Salutation to all the Siddhas by illustrious King KHARAVELA, the Aira, also pronounced as Aila, the great king, the descendant of Mahameghavahana, the increaser of the glory of the Chedi dynasty, endowed with excellent and auspicious marks, the features possessed by virtues which have reached the 4 quarters overlord of Kalinga. So it is basically a salutation of praise of the king and his ancestry. For 15th year, so therefore the whole documentation starts from the 15th year. The line second speaks, for 15 years with a body ruddy and handsome were played youthsome sport. After that, he had mastered the training of correspondence, currency, finance, civil, and religious laws, who had become well versed in all the branches of learning. For 9 years of office of Yuvraja, as a Yuvraj, he administered. So for 15 years he was under the training, and within that 15 year, 9 year he worked as a Yuvraj, and he learned and mastered administration. Having completed the 24th year at that time, he who had been prosperous since his infancy and who was destined to have wide conquests as those of Veena. So his infancy or his childhood was till the 24th year. Then, in a state of manhood, obtains the imperial coronation in the dynasty of Kalinga. As soon as he is anointed, in the first signal year, he caused repairs of the gates. So, for 15 years, he attained training and he became king on the 24th year. So, the record starts from this point. As soon as he was appointed, he caused repairs of the gates, the walls, the buildings, which were damaged by storm or in the city of Kalinga. He caused the erection of embankments of the lake. The embankments of the lakes where he erected Kvira Rishi of other tanks and cisterns. The restoration of all the gardens supposed to be. Now he restored the gardens also. The line 4 speaks, some part of this is missing, done at the cost of 35,000 thousands, and he gratified the people. And in the second year, so in the second regnal year, he, disregarding the Shata company, dispatches to the western regions an army strong in cavalry, elephant, infantry, chariots, and by that army having reached the Kanhabema, he throws the city of the Musikas into consternation. So he had dispatched a campaign against Satakamni with the army consisting of a lot of elements, and the city belonging to the Musikas were dispersed. In the third year, in the third regnal year, he was in the science of Gandharva, that is music, entertains the capital with exhibition of dapa, dancing, singing, and instrumental music by causing to be held festivities and assemblies in the third regnal year. In the fourth regnal year, the abodes of Vidyadharas built by the former Kalingan kings, which had not been damaged before, were with their so part of is lost, with their coronets rendered meaningless, with their helmets, Dilma cut in twain, and with their umbrellas. So in the fourth year, he built with certain, he rebuilt or he repaired some of the buildings built by his predecessors. Vingaras cast away, deprived their jewels, all the Rathikas and Vojakas he caused to bow down at their feet. In the fifth regnal year, so in the fifth regnal year or in the fifth year from his coronation, he brings into the capital from the road Tanasolia, the canal excavated in the year 133 of King Nanda. Okay, some parts is lost. So he extended the canal which earlier been built by Nanda King, again dated to the year 103 of that king. Having been re-anointed, celebrated the Rashtriya remits all tithes and cesses. Now, he, in the fifth regnal year, celebrated the Rashtriya Yajna, and he remits all the taxes and cesses which are supposed to be collected by state and which the people owe to the government has been remitted. Bestowed many privileges. He also bestowed many privileges amounting to hundreds and thousands of the city corporation and the realm corporation. In the seventh year, so he rebated certain taxes like amounting to hundreds of thousands to city corporation and realm corporation in the shape of those taxes he rebated. In the seventh year of his reign, his famous wife Vajiragraha obtained the dignity of auspicious motherhood. So in the seventh regnal year, he became the father. That means 24 plus 7, 24 plus 7 on the 31st year of his, on the age of 31, he became the father. Then in the 8th year, he with a large army having sacked Goradhagiri. So in the 8th regnal, he sent an expedition to Goradhagiri and he sacked or he destroyed that place. Causes pressure on Rajagriha on account of the loud report of this act of valor. The Yavana king Dimita retreated to Mathura, having extricated his demoralized army and transport. Some portion is lost. He gives loss with full. Now, so with that expedition to Goradhagiri, he went close to the Rajgriha and there was a panic all around. He gives lost with foliage, kalpa, trees, elephant chariots with deer, drivers, houses, residents, and rest houses. He made those grants or those donations, or he caused those things to be presented, and to make all these acceptable, he gives at the fire sacrifice exemption of taxes. He made these gifts at the fire sacrifice or some yajna, and he exempted Brahmins or Arhats from taxes. A part of that is missing. So basically, to celebrate a particular event, he made a huge yajna in which the taxes to Brahmins and Arhats were exempted. He caused to be built a royal residence called the Palace of Great Victory, Mahavijaya, at the cost of 38,000. In the same year, same regnal year, he to commemorate that victory, a great palace was built at the cost of 38,000. In the 10th regnal year, he, following the threshold policy of chastisement, alliance, and conciliation, sends out an expedition against Bharatavasa and brings about the conquest of the land and obtains jewels and precious things of the king's attack. So, in the 10th regnal year, he set out for a all India campaign in which many kings were defeated and many rich jewels and precious things, kind of booty, were procured. And the market town Pitunda, founded by the Ava king, he plowed down with a plow of asses, and he thoroughly breaks up the confederacy of Tirimira or Dramira, countries of 113 years, which has been a source of danger to his country. And in the 12th year, he terrifies the kings of Uttarapatha with thousands of some part of missing. Now, in the 11th line, it said that a market town was made. Pitunda, possibly the name of the market town is Pitunda, which was founded by Ava king. And he went there in plowing. It shows that king can also plow. So, it implies that there was a mobility, a caste mobility was there to a certain extent, or possibly the upper caste can do anything. But that is not so in the lower caste, I guess. And he thoroughly there was a confederacy which was directed against him possibly, and he break that confederacy, and which was that confederacy which was a source of constant threat to his country. So he defeated that confederacy and secured his country from that threat. In the 12th year, he terrifies the king of. In the 12th year, he set out an expedition against the king of the north, and so the part of that thing is missing. Uttarapatha with lost thousands kings of Uttarapatha. So possibly he set out with a huge army amounting to thousands of infantry or cavalry and all that thing, but that part is lost. So cannot be straight for sure that what was really the apparatus he carried along. 12, in the line 12, a portion of the beginning is lost, and it starts and causing panic among people of Magadha. He drives his elephant into Sugamgiya and makes the king of Magadha, Bahasati Mita, bow to his feet, and he sets up image the Jaina of Kalinga, which had been taken away by Nanda king, and a portion is lost, and caused to be brought home the riches of Amga and Magadha along with the keepers of the family jewels. Now it speaks about, so the line 12 speaks about the Kharavel's invasion or attack upon the Magadha. The Magadha at that time was ruled by a king Brihaspatiminta, and he defeated the very king and made him bow at his feet. And the image of Jaina that previously was carried out by Nanda king was brought back from Magadha to Kalinga. The 13 line, the portion of the 13 line is lost. It records he built excellent towers with carved interiors and creates a settlement of 100 masons, giving them exemption from land revenue, and a wonderful and marvelous enclosure of stockade for driving the elephants. and a portion is lost, and horses, elephants, jewels, and rubies, as well as numerous pearls in the hundreds he caused to be brought here from the Pandya king. So it's speaking about the expedition to a south. The line 14, the initial part of the line 14 is lost or is missing or possibly is mutilated. Who speaks about he subjugates in the 13th year, uh, regnal year, on the Kumari hill, where the wheel of conquest has been well revolved, he offers respectfully royal maintenances, China clothes, and white clothes to the Jain monks. On the religious life, the conduct of relic memorial by KHARAVELA the illustrious, a layman devoted to worship, is realized the Jivada and Deha. So actually, it's a bit philosophical now. So it's speaking about a gift made to a Jaina monks, because he himself was a Jain. So of course his support is or his patronage is towards the Jains, and he made certain donation to the Jain monks and revered figures of the Jains. The initial of the line 15 is lost. It speaks about bringing about a council of the wise ascetics and sages from hundreds quarters, the monks of good deeds and who are fully followed near the relic depository of the Arhat on the top of the hill, with stones brought from many miles, quarried from excellent mines, sheltered for the Sinhapatha queen Sindhula. It's speaking about certain uh, uh, what is it, certain things, certain valuables brought from certain places. Now, the line 16, like all the other lines, like the previous line, the initial part of the line 16 is lost, and a major part of the line is lost. Each sets of 4 columns inlaid with braille, a part is lost. At the cost of 2500,000, he causes to be compiled expeditiously the text of the sevenfold angas of the 64 letters. He is the king of peace, the king of prosperity, the king of monks, the king of religion, who was being seeing, hearing, and realizing blessings. And this part is a kind of religious, and it speaks about compilation of sevenfold Anga texts and all, and conferring certain titles to the king himself, like king of peace and king of prosperity and king of monks and king of religion. The 16th line, the initial of the 16th line is lost. The 17th line, the initial of the 17th line is lost. It speaks about accomplishment in extraordinary virtues, respecter of every sect, the repairer of our temples, one whose chariot and army are irresistible. It's basically ended with the ending, or towards the end, it's become kind of eulogy, kind of praise for the king. It's been like mentioned as extraordinary virtues he have, like respecter of every sect, he respected every sect, and repairer of all temples, he was repairing, as we have already seen in the earlier lines, that he repaired certain temples broken for reasons not known properly, but he is repairing the temples, and one whose chariot and army are irresistible. That means he is a huge army, a very formidable army. So we have already seen that he was having a campaign in South India, in North India also. One whose empire is protected by the chief of the empire, descendant from the family of royal sage Vasu, the great conqueror, the king, the illustrious KHARAVELA. So his ancestry has been revealed or made to notice that he is in the line of the royal sage Vasu, the great conqueror, the king, and he is the great conqueror, and he is the illustrious king. KHARAVELA. The Hatigumpha inscription, about the inscription, the Hatigumpha inscription is the main source of information about the Jain king ruler KHARAVELA. His year by year achievements in this inscription states Richard Salomon approximates the character of a pure panegyric. This is an early prototype of processory style of inscription. So towards the end of the inscription, it kind of turns into processory, like praising his ancestry, praising his deeds and whatever he have done, he been praised actually. The Nanda king building a water canal which was then extended to KHARAVELA to Kalinga capital. A water canal was built by Nanda king somewhere in Magadha, I guess. So that canal, after he defeating the Kalinga, the Magadha, possibly the water canal extended to his capital. This Nanda king is by one interpretation 130 years senior. It's largely disputed by another reading about 300 years prior to KHARAVELA. If KHARAVELA is placed in the 1st century BC and this reading is assumed to reflect the real events over 300 years of ancient India, then this interpretation implies a historical record keeping between 4th century BC and 1st century BC. Places a public water infrastructure project by an Indian ruler also in the 4th century along with Jaina tradition of image worship. So it speaks about like how it was extended and like the whole imagination of like extending a huge canal or water or hydel engineering at that time only shows the outlook of the king at that time. The Nanda king taking away Kalinga Jinam, this has been interpreted as either taking away a Jaina image or a seat from Kalinga or conquering a place in Kalinga, which was then brought back to Kalinga by KHARAVELA. So basically, Nanda king has invaded Kalinga at one time and he took either an image of Jaina or a seat from Kalinga. So it was again brought back after defeating the Magadha king much later. In 1925, Glesnap suggested that may mean an idol of Jaina. So in 1925, this gentleman suggests that this Kalinga Jinam is probably the idol of Jaina. Modern era scholars such as Rao and Thapa to interpret it as a Jaina image or Jaina images was taken away by Nanda king and then it been brought back by KHARAVELA in 2nd century BC. Of course, he is a Jain king and he is a respect for the Jaina image or he was like had the reverence. So bringing back that Jaina image becomes his primary duty as a Jain king of Kalinga. Thank you.